Lineup changes tonight, Coach?
7, 11. Put Elliott in. Elliott. And Hogberg's in nets. And, yeah, Paul's out.
If Paul's out, Magnus Payarvi is ready to go?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm keeping Rodewald in.
It's hit the halfway point of the season tonight. I think it's be easy for us to look at the things that haven't gone well, but if you were looking at a couple of things that you've liked that your team has done in the first half of the season, what would you call?
Well, for me, it's clear it's the first half until we were one game below 500 and everybody got injured. That's where we're struggling right now. And but once we had pretty much everybody until that point, we're right there, almost 500. Above expectations, and some guys growing much faster than we thought, and a lot of good stuff happening, but we're not in a position to be able to sustain a lot of players being injured. We know that, and we knew that, and we knew it was going to be tough, and in terms of wins and losses, but in terms of performances of either some players or even the team. You look at our last 3 games, I mean, we've been very good, but when you're missing your #1 goaltender, when your 2 goalies are American League goalies that are coming to help you, but both of them are American League goalies, I mean, you can't expect to come in and have them come in and save the day. It's not fair, and it's on defense. I think we're hurting there. When you're missing your top defenseman, it's hurt us in terms of the offense. It's hurt us in terms of breaking the puck out, transitioning the puck, and and Yaros is definitely. Let's be honest with you, that's one guy that really developed into somebody that's really helping us. So those 2 guys missing, it's Falk, who came in and was in the lineup when we won some games. The last games that we had won, Falk was in the lineup also. So that's a lot of people that we're missing. Duchesne at some point comes back, but then the other guys are out. So we're not in a position to be missing a lot of players. And so right now, every player coming back makes a big difference for us. And where it's the toughest in any part of your lineup is always goaltending and your top 4 defensemen. And right now, the guys are doing their very best, and they're giving us a chance every game to be in the games, and we're in the games. So against really good teams, whether it's Columbus, whether it's Washington twice, or whether it's the Islanders after our game, they went out and beat Toronto 4-0. They beat Buffalo, and so we were right there with them. So a lot of good things, but it's for us in our situation. It's important, if we're missing 1, we'll manage, but if we're missing 2 and 3 and 4 and at key positions, right now guys are learning to cope with that, and but it's tough. That's a reality. So that's why for me, until we got injuries, I thought the guys were doing the very best they could, and as a team, we're definitely growing. The power play at that point was top 10. And penalty killed since November 14th. I think before last night we were 6th in the league for penalty kills since November 14th. So there's growth. There's a lot of good things, but like I said yesterday, I have to be fair to some players that we can't ask of them what a higher-end player would do, or a more experienced guy. So there's growth. There's some tough times, and those tough times are going to help us grow faster. But yes, once we get some more players back, I'm hoping to have the team growing to another level.
Justin Falk in the same boat, Coach? Justin Falk?
Justin, I would say, has had a skate that didn't go well, and has had a skate that went better. So hopefully, the problem with those injuries is that you get something, looks fine, and then 3 hours later, all of a sudden you get a setback, and then, there's always a 24-hour window, and that you have to wait and see. So, hopefully we're hoping that those guys are back in the lineup sooner than later for sure.
And in that first half, have you seen progression in the young players?
Oh my God!
I guess.
Yeah, big time. And it's not just young. I mean, the other day I was talking about CC as an older player, and the guy's 25 years old. So that's our situation. We have to make sure that for every single player, not just the team, because the team's it's a melting pot of individuals in different ages and different experiences. And some guys are Harper, for instance. He's not a 19-year-old, but this is his first full year in the NHL, really. So, you know, he's basically a rookie. And so we're asking rookies to go out there and play against the first lines. And that's where you have to, it's like Lajoie, you know, he's just turned 21 years old. It's his first real NHL season. And we're asking him to play against the top players every night. I mean, there's times where it looks great, and then there's 10 minutes where, whoops, you know, their better players get the best of those guys. But that's why, over time, you know, when they're 23 and 24 and 25, the minutes that they're getting now are really going to pay off. But to say that there's going to be growth where every game you get a constant, that's not true, and it's not true for anybody. And so it's you're down, you're up, you're down, you're up. But as long as you look over a month, 2 months, and 3 months, and you look at the growth and you see it, and that's clear for all our young guys.
But to me, maybe a guy where you've seen consistent growth is Colin White, isn't it? I mean, there has been, if you look at the calendar year of 2018, there's a guy who made consistent growth. There
is, but, you know, it's because you're looking at the stats. But I look at games and perform. I'll give you an example. Last game, you know, he made 2 defensive mistakes that ended up in the back of our net. But you're going to look at the stat and go, he played a great game. But for me, I look at the big picture, and I look at the video, and I look at, so I'll see this and this and that. But over time, you know, the mistakes he would have been making 10 times in the game, now he's making them 2 times in the game, and then so on and so on. And so, yes, there is a constant growth, but constant growth doesn't mean every game you're better. That's not true. That's unrealistic, and it's not true for any growth of any kind, of anything. And so that's where you'll have moments where you're not happy, and there's moments where 2 games in a row you go, wow, these, and then the game after that, there's a dip. And with the young guys, it's when you have a lot at the same time, it's if you have one that's okay, fine, but there's 2 or 3 that are struggling because we're on the road, we're the matchups, because we've played a 3 and 4, because the top end line is stronger than the previous game's top end line, and so there's so many things that come into play. But if you look at every month and over 3 and 4 months, there's not a single young person or a rookie that has not improved. Every single one of them has, and that's why, I'll be honest with you, I'm real proud of them in that way. Is that, you know, there's nobody really that's falling off the wagon. Even a guy like Batherson, who drastically improved his defensive side of the game. Like, I was so impressed by how he learned quick that side. So he had grown, but we just thought that he wasn't getting the minutes because there's other guys getting minutes for the offensive part that we thought we're going to put him in the right place. But he had grown too. So in that respect, the players that we've got, we're real proud of how they've put in the attitude, the effort, the work ethic, and the discipline. And that goes back to what you're asking me. Like, if I go back, that's the #1 goal of the year, and that's what's happening, and that has not changed, even though we've had, you know, games that we've lost lately. You've had some really good games. You look at Kachuk had to deal with a little dry spell, and all of a sudden came out and played terrific, you know, and that's part of growing, and it says a lot about his character that it didn't last 2 months, a month and a half, 3 months. You could see right away figuring it out and doing video, asking questions, you know, down on himself on one game, but the practice after is the hardest worker out there. So that's part of the growth too. So I see it on different aspects. I don't just see the stats or that one particular game where a guy comes out. So for me, that's where I think there's and it's not just the young guys themselves, it's the players that are surrounding those guys. Like a guy like Stone has done an unbelievable job surrounding those guys, and back on the fence, Borowiecki's been great around those guys too. And so there's a lot of good stories inside for us, and that's why I as a coach, I don't want to lose sight of where we're going, what the goal of this season is, and that's why if you lose a game, my job is after, okay, you know, these guys have developed it. And today, for instance, to give you an example, Lajoie had some struggles last game on the breakout, on the power play, because he was playing with different guys. So all of a sudden, you know, his time goes off. So today we talked about that, and we're going to see video, and then tonight he gets the opportunity again to grow in that respect, and I'm sure he will. He's very smart, very dedicated, and that's a very enjoyable part of my job, to be honest with you.